Continuing on with our Pythagorean theorem, let's do a quick review. Do you use the Pythagorean theorem to find the missing sides or the missing angles in a right triangle? Keyword right triangle. And it is the sides. We find the missing sides using the Pythagorean theorem. What is the Pythagorean theorem? In our world, it is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A and B being the legs, C being the longest one, the hypotenuse opposite from our right angle. Number 3, simplify the radical. Well, this is the square root sign, and it is currently being squared. When you square root sign, so this is the same thing as saying the square root times 113 times the square root of 113. That would be the same thing as that times itself. The square root signs cancel each other out when you're doing that. So it is just 113. Number 4, do the sides 5, 6, and 12 form a triangle? Well, here's how we can tell. If we add 5 plus 6, it has to be greater than 12. If 5 plus 6 is greater than 12, then yes. If it is equal or less to, then no. So we have that. That's 11. And 12 is then greater. So it is a big old no. They do not form a triangle. Okay, so today we are going to talk about the converse Pythagorean theorem, which says if a square of the length of the longest side of the triangle is equal to the sum of the squares of the lengths of the other side triangle, then it is a right triangle. So basically, remember when we have if a squared plus b squared equals c squared, c being the longest, and these two being the smaller legs, then it is a right triangle. So let's try it out. So all we have to do is square them. Okay, so we just got to find the longest one. The longest side is 26. So if 22 squared plus 14 squared equals 26 squared, then it is for sure a right triangle. 22 squared being 484, 14 squared being 196, 26 squared is 676. If we add 484 plus 196, this is 680. It does not equal 676. So this is not a right triangle. So we'll just say no. Let's try the next one. We don't know what a square root of 113 is. I'm going to punch that into the calculator, and it is about 10.6. So this is the longest side. We're just checking just to see if that's the longest side. So we know that it has to be 8 squared plus 7 squared equals the square root of 113 squared. 8 squared then is 64. 7 squared is 49. And this, remember, it is just 113. When you square, a square root is 113. 64 plus 49 is 113. It is equal to 113. So yes, it is a right triangle. Let's go check out number 3. The biggest distance is 23. So if I set this up here, let's see here, we want 21.2 squared plus 11.4 squared equals 23 squared. Punch those into the calculator. I get 449.44 plus 129.96 equals 529. That's 23 squared. Okay, if I add them together, this is 579.4. It does not equal 529. So no, this is not a right triangle. All right, let's try this next one. 3 root 34. I'm going to punch that into my calculator to see what that is. That is actually 17, around 17.5. So this is the longest side here. Okay, so I'm going to set this up. 9 squared plus 15 squared must equal 3 root 34 squared. And here, if I punch it in exactly my calculator, I get 81 plus 225 must equal 306. 81 plus 225 is 306. So it is equal. So I'm just gonna say yes. Okay, what if they aren't equal? How to classify a triangle by its sides? Okay, remember, we'll classify them if we have, I'm gonna call them, let's say A. If A squared plus B squared is greater than C squared, then it is acute, and we're classifying by its angles. If A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared, remember, that is a right triangle. And if A squared plus B squared is less than C squared, then it is obtuse. So now we just got to see which one of these is what type of triangle it is. So now we have acute and obtuse as potential answers. So first, I know 14 is my longest side, so I'm going to do 12 squared plus 6 squared equals 14 squared, and see what I get using that. 12 squared, that's 144 plus 36, and then here I get 196. I'm going to just put a box now, just because I don't know if it's going to be equal, and we need to know what it is. So here I'm going to put in my box 144. This is 180. 196. 196 is definitely bigger. And from here, we know that has to be obtuse. Okay, let's try this next one. Let me punch in the square root of 17. That is around 4.1. So it's the longest side. So we'll do this. So 1 squared plus 4 squared must equal the square root of 17 squared. 1 squared is 1 plus 16 equals 17. That's 17 equals 17. They equal. Okay, so that is a right triangle. Oh, now they just give us distances. Well, the biggest one is 6. We want to first check if it is possibly a triangle. So we want to check if it's a triangle. So first we want to check. So let's see here. 3 plus 4, it is 7. 7 is greater than 6. So possible. So it is a triangle. It is a triangle. We can make a triangle out of that. So then we do to see what type of triangle we have. So we have 3 squared plus 4 squared equal, we don't know if it's equal or not, 6 squared. So this is 9 plus 16, box, 36. 25 is less than 36. We got an obtuse triangle right here. Okay, so next, first we want to check if we only have numbers and not a picture. So first we'll check 2 plus 2, that is 4. It is less than 5, not a triangle. We can't even do anything. It is not even a possible triangle. Okay, Okay, finally, number 5, last 2. Let's check to see if it's a triangle. The longest side is 3.5, so 2.1 plus 2.8, that's 4.9. It is bigger than 3.5, so it is a triangle. Let's see what type of triangle we have. If I square the two smaller sides, 2.1 squared plus 2.8 squared, what is it in relationship to 3.5 squared? Punch those into my calculators. This is 4.41 plus 7.84 in relationship to 12.25. 4.41 plus 7.84, that gives me 12.25. They are equal to each other. What about that? So this is a right triangle. Okay. Last one, if I square root of 7, that is about 2.6. About 2.6. So there we have 3. So let's check. If we do, first we got to check if it's a triangle. So 2.6 plus 3, that gives me 5.6. It is bigger than 4, so it is a triangle. So we can make sure it is a triangle. And now let's see what type of triangle. So 2.6, well, I'm not going to do 2.6. I'm going to do the square root of 7 squared plus 3 squared. See what is it in relationship to 4 squared. This is 7 plus 9 in relationship to 16. 7 plus 9 is 16. 16 equals 16. We got another right triangle.